Hi, welcome to Nebula 404. My name is Lori Carey, and I am the CEO of Nebula Academy and your host today for our series. And we have with us Jessica Salazar, one of our alumni from our software engineering bootcamp. So I'm excited to introduce you today to Jessica. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so Jessica graduated from our V2. Four. Sorry, yeah, I'm losing count here. So V4 program, which we name each of our boot camps with a number series, so we know where we're at. And so Jessica graduated this past July, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jessica came to us a little bit over just in the springtime, looking for an opportunity. But I want you to kind of share your story about how you find out about the program. And how we'll start with that. It's like, how did you find us and learn about our program?
Sure. Well, I had, through the Department of Labor, signed up to get some training. And they introduced me to Nebula Academy and asked me to take a look based on my background in technology, to take a look at the programs that you guys offered to see if I would be interested. And when I did, the software engineering bootcamp was one that really stood out to me, something that I've always wanted to get into. So I went ahead and I applied on your website, and I was contacted back, did an interview with Kathy and Nick, and they accepted me into the program. Unfortunately, though, Department of Labor apparently didn't have everything set up with you guys, and I pretty much had to decline the offer only because I wasn't. They weren't going to cover it for me.
They weren't able to fund you.
They weren't able to fund me.
Yeah.
But thanks to you. And your generous offer to, to cover the cost for me to attend the software engineering boot camp, I was able to. I was able to accept. This happened within a couple of days, actually. It was really exciting. I was really surprised and really happy that I was given the opportunity.
Yes. So for us, it was one of those things where we're building relationships and funding sources for people like Jessica who can't really afford to pay for this opportunity, but they want to improve themselves and really build their careers and be able to create sustainable lives on Long Island. And so our process was a little not necessarily in line yet, and so we were feeling like unfortunate because you were told that you could get a scholarship, and then you found out you couldn't because the things weren't in line. So Kathy and I just made the call that we would support you to do this, especially because your background, you already had tech experience. We knew you would do good things with the opportunity, and you're a single mom, and that was really another piece for it too. Is that it's important that moms have these opportunities, or women have these opportunities to be able to support their kids and support their lives with being both a mom and getting out in the workforce as necessary. So we're thrilled to have you in the program, and really proud of what you've accomplished and just your participation in the program. You were a great contribution to the cohort, and couldn't be happier or any more excited for you about what you're doing next. So tell us a little bit about your experience in the program overall, as a woman and a mom, and really about how you manage this, because this was peak COVID. It's all virtual, and you're in a house with kids who are going to school online, right?
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about that craziness.
Oh, well, that was definitely a challenge for me. My children, I have a 9-year-old and I have a 14-year-old who were at home in virtual school during the time that I was in school also.
So you're all in school, and you're all in the house.
And all in the house. So it was a little challenging trying to juggle both things, making sure that they're on class and doing what they're supposed to do, but then also having the time to pay attention to what I'm being taught. But thankfully, speaking with them and letting them know, involving them in what it was that I was doing and showing them how important it was and the types of things that I was learning and how much attention I had to give to it, they helped out to be, they were a little bit understanding. But then at the same time, I had great support at home from my partner, who helped out a lot. But again, I think involving them in what it was that I was doing.
So how did you do that? How did you involve your kids in this?
So whenever I learned, for instance, when I was learning CSS, and here I am, I built a small little page, and then now it's time to put all the finishing touches to it and make it look real nice. I would show them, this is how I changed the color of the background. This is how I changed the fonts. Look what I could do. I can make, these photos into a collage. And I would put in photos, upload photos of us, of our family doing different things. And also with one of the projects that we did, which was the game, the Canvas game, I had my 9-year-old actually test it.
Oh, that's great.
And while he was playing it, he actually told me, "Mom, this is buggy."
So he gave you some feedback.
He gave me some feedback.
Yeah, so real feedback from your kids on the coding that you're doing. And they're seeing the work that you're doing and the commitment that you have to learn, which is a great role model for your kids to see, right?
Absolutely. And then, my kids, my daughter, she's into art and designing, and my little one, he just plays games, all the time, computer games, and he's always downloading packages, and I don't recall the word for what it is that he downloads, but it's certain things that he downloads to improve the game and enhance his characters and different things like that. So I feel like this is definitely something that he and she would be able to pick up and really run with it, and this is the future for them.
Right.
So I wanted them to witness what it was that I was doing, how impressive it was that you could create something from nothing. And so maybe they can have, maybe I can plant the seed in them. Right. And hopefully it grows in the future. Yeah,
no, that's great. It's all about, because the reality is a lot of people are not in the tech industry because their parents are not, right? Mm-hmm. And so having, and pretty commonly, if the kids are in technology because some relative or their parents or somebody's already in it, so they get that exposure. So you're, I always say, my kids are lucky because my husband and I are both in the tech industry, and they get so much exposure to it. But a lot of people don't. So you can give that to your kids, which I think is a great opportunity. Mm-hmm. So cool. And you're inspiring the next generation of developers for them seeing you do this. Yeah. And you're all just the work ethic and everything that you bring to the table, and showing your kids that is so important.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what would you tell moms out there? What would you tell moms out there or women out there about I guess the field of tech and how what would you say to them?
What I would say is don't let the world of technology intimidate you. My experience, in my technology experience, I've witnessed that it is an industry that's dominated by men. However, everything that they know, you can learn to do too. This is not something that requires you to have a master's in order to get into the fields of technology. There's so many different areas that you can get into that don't require that. Coding is a language, and so by learning the terminology, learning what everything stands for, what it means, you could learn this language as well. And it opens you up to so many opportunities. My biggest, the biggest challenge that I faced being a mom was finding work that would allow me to be flexible enough to still care for my family and earn an income. And working within different industries or working different jobs that required me to be, on site or in the office for lengthy periods of time any overtime that I needed to do. I had to be in the office or away from home. Really was a challenge. Having to pay for childcare, travel back and forth to work, the expense of wardrobes to be able to, to use in the office environment. This is all costly. It costs a lot. And when you have multiple children that are all different age levels and are involved in various different things, you have to, juggle that life, it becomes really difficult. The professionals that I met along my journey, right, in my career journey in technology, they did have that flexibility. They were able to work remotely when they needed to. They were able to travel with their families and still be in touch and work from wherever they were.
Yeah, so more flexibility for women and especially moms.
Especially moms.
Yeah, I could attest to that myself. I would not be able to do what I did in my career with if it wasn't for tech.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing that I would tell any woman who's looking or interested in getting into technology, just do it. Do it now and jump into it now. The 4 or 5 months that I was in this program flew. By the end, once it was over, I was starting to get a little bit of anxiety, like what am I gonna do? Because I was so, it was a very enjoyable experience. I feel not only did I gain experience and knowledge, but I also was able to connect with other people who had similar interests, who had similar concerns, and we were always able to bounce those off of each other and give each other confidence and motivation, to succeed in this program. And so yeah, I would say just do it. Don't be scared. Don't let it intimidate you. Just jump right in and you'll learn. You will definitely learn.
So your background's a little different than most of our boot camp candidates. A lot of our candidates come in with no tech background at all. So tell us a little bit about what you because you're an interesting candidate and that's why we funded you, was because we knew that you were somebody who just needed your skills updated, right? So tell us a little bit about the challenges of being in the field, and then maybe kind of keeping current.
Sure. Well, when I started in technology, I started as support and customer service for America Online. That was my first exposure to technology and actually working, for a technology company. From there, I moved on to help desk role for the Princeton Review, and then from there, just really branched off into support roles. Application support, support engineer for various different proprietary applications. But I felt like I was hitting a roadblock because I was not really able to advance myself past that support role. I didn't have the formal education that was being asked of me at that time.
All right, so college degree.
College degree. I have a associates in IT. However, that wasn't enough for the roles that I was looking to get into, the more, the more advanced roles. So that was really what was holding me back. In 2018, I actually started my own company, providing field services across the tri-state area. And this was low voltage cabling, structured cabling, design and installation. This is all stuff that I learned on the job.
Right.
I challenged myself to go out there and try to pick up these projects. Even though I didn't have as much experience, I was able to utilize what I did know in technology to really to gain the confidence of the client. And so going on to these jobs, there were some things that I had no idea how I was going to do it. But thankfully, you know, the internet and YouTube are great because I was always able to go in and do the research and figure out what it was that I needed to do and follow the instructions.
Which you're not going to learn with a college degree anyways.
Exactly. And it was really successful for, I would say, maybe about a year and a half. I thought that this was what I was going to be doing, and you know, I didn't want to do anything else. It was really enjoyable for me. I was able to travel, but also earn a great income. But then once COVID hit, all of the work declined, had no more work. I tried to get back into the support roles, application support, but again, there came the requirements of having some sort of degree, and a lot of them were now requiring me to understand some sort of programming language.
Right.
And that I did not have.
That was the gap.
That was the gap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to pivot and figure out something. I needed to gain that knowledge in order to, you know, propel me into that area and allow me to really go after those roles that I wanted.
So how has the, you know, post-graduation, what are some of the things you're doing now, and how's the program helped you do that?
Well, now, thankfully, I have begun to try to build my business back up. And the confidence that I gained within the program, the knowledge that I gained being in the program has helped me to be able to better negotiate with clients, to just have this sort of confidence that they want to hire me for, you know, for these jobs.
And what kind of jobs are you doing?
Right now, we just secured a project with Home Depot to do all their access point and network equipment upgrades.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be doing that for the New York and Connecticut area. This is going to require me to actually train and hire some more people to come on, some technicians, and this I feel like is a great opportunity for me to now share what I learned with other people and give them opportunity, give
Fantastic.
back. And that is definitely something that you inspire me to do, because I know that, you know, from the story that I know from you, seeing what you have been able to accomplish totally motivated me to want to do the same thing. I want to be successful. I want to help other people. I want to give back. So that's something that I've been working on since I graduated. But also, I have been interviewing with several different companies. I've been contacted by Walmart. I've been contacted by Disney. I've been contacted by a robotics automation company who are interested in my background and what I learned and accomplished in the past 6 months. So I've begun my interview process with them, and we're gonna see where that goes.
Yeah.
You know?
So you got lots of choices now, which you didn't have before.
Exactly. It's opened me up to be able to apply to a lot of roles that I would have never been able to apply to before.
Right, right.
I have a whole list of skills that I've been able to add to my resume and add to my LinkedIn and my Indeed. And because of that, they've been reaching out to me. I've had recruiters reaching out. So now I feel like I'm back in control.
Yeah. Of your future.
Of my future,
Yeah,
and you know where I want to go.
That's exciting. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
And I've been in your situation before, where I've had to do something, you know, reinvent yourself in many ways, right, to get yourself reskilled and retooled, and it's an amazing feeling, and it kind of propels you into what's next.
Absolutely.
And with having sometimes to step back a little bit to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're a mom, a single mom. You know, it's important to have that opportunity. Not many women get that opportunity. So we want women out there to know that there is an opportunity. Come contact us, let us know, tell us your story, and we'll help you figure it out. through our coaches and our team, we want to help support women to kind of move themselves forward and get beyond that stuck point that they may be at with their career, or anybody, not just women, but anybody. So tell us a little bit about how the instructors helped supported you throughout the program.
Oh, the instructors were absolutely amazing. Tefe, he is brilliant. It was really surprising to me seeing how much he knew, and his level of knowledge. It was surprising to find out that this was his first cohort that he was instructing, and but his patience, knowledge, the time that he took to really help us to grasp the content, the way that he pushed us to challenge ourselves.
Yeah. No, it's great because reality is our instructors are all trained they're trained by myself and by Nick, our lead instructor, and so they go through a pretty rigorous training process to get them ready for the cohort. They're kind of it's a slow working process. So they're in the classroom helping as a fellow and kind of an instructor in training. So they're not like just jumping right in and teaching. They're learning how to teach, and it's a slow progression. So we work them up to that. So by the time you had Tepe in your classroom, he had already been supporting other cohorts and had that experience and exposure to what the process is and how to teach. So that we seek out resources who really have a passion for teaching and are really knowledgeable in their craft, which is being a software engineer.
Yeah, and that is something that I absolutely witnessed, was his passion for coding, and that rubbed off on everyone.
It's contagious.
It is contagious.
Yeah.
So he was absolutely wonderful. Abe, a breath of fresh air. He would always come in with a smile and motivate us to get ready for the day. He had a different style where, the way that he would explain things to us sometimes would really make us get it. Some of us had a hard time grasping some of the content, but he would come in, save the day, and explain it in a way that we can all get. And his help during the Code Wars really pushed us to be able to grasp the content.
Yeah. So and how was we have office hours? How was you took advantage of the office hours? How was the office hours part of that support for you?
Office hours were definitely helpful. Whenever we had projects that we had to work on, we had deadlines that we had to meet, office hours definitely was the boost that we needed to get to where we had to go. So for instance, if I was running into errors with my code for my project, I can just hop onto office hours. Abe would be able to walk me through, what these errors mean, how we would go about correcting them. Again, not hand-holding, but challenging us to really remember what it was that they had
to build those problem-solving skills. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Very good. What are some of the principles that you're applying that you learned in the class? Like, we did AWS, and obviously full stack web development. So what are some of the things that you've kind of taken away that you're already using or applying in your work that you're doing today?
One of the biggest takeaways for me was that the learning journey didn't end with my graduation from Nebula Academy. Before taking this course, if I was applying to jobs and I didn't have one of the skills that they required, I'd just skip it. And I'd say, all right, I don't have that, I don't know how to do that, so let me just move on. But now, if I'm interested in a role and I read that they require us to know some sort of technology that I haven't been exposed to yet, now, after the program, I'll go out and I'll learn how to do it. I'll do my research, practice with it. I have my VS Code on my computer, so I can easily start up some applications and start practicing, and then go back to my resume and add that new skill to my resume. And this is something I learned through Nebula is the technologies are ever changing. There are always new technologies that are coming, that are on the horizon. And with the fundamentals that I learned at Nebula Academy, the JavaScript, the HTML, CSS, the React, Canvas, just so many things, AWS, just knowing that will help me to understand these other technologies. They're not as foreign to me anymore.
You learned how to learn.
I learned how to learn.
Yeah, that's a key part of what we do. We teach you how to learn because you have to, right? Because you have to, and the statistics around that too, for those listening, is that women are typically, will not apply for a job unless they feel like they have all the 100% of the skills. Where men will apply for the job even if they have like half of the skills because they have that confidence that, oh, I can figure it out, right? And so women are kind of can get stuck around that, which you've already said you've done yourself, right? Where you kind of, oh, well, I don't know that, so I'm not going to apply for the job. So now you've learned how to learn, and so when you see that, you don't hold yourself back. You go and then figure it out, and then you're confident enough to go in and say, yeah, I know I can learn that. Right, and that's a big thing. And I've done that in my career where I've applied for jobs and I've looked at the job description and going, no, I don't know how to do that, but I could, right? And so, and that's the confidence you need to have because in today's world, there's always going to be something you don't know. But you have to demonstrate to the person looking at hiring you is that you are capable of figuring it out, and that you'll take that challenge on because they want people who can come into the workforce and can problem solve and figure out new things because it's always changing. No matter what industry you're in, it's evolving, and so you have to be able to have that growth mindset, and that's a big part of what we teach is that growth mindset and that learning how to learn. So now you can pick on. Do you feel confident that you could take on anything?
I do. Even with the volunteer opportunity with We Connect the Dots, coming into a project that has already been touched by other developers. It's right smack in the middle of being created. And now we have to change our whole strategy and use a different framework that I haven't been exposed to before. But because I do know how to go out there and look for the information, because I do have the confidence to actually challenge myself to practice and play around with it, now I'm able to go in and try to figure this out, And
No fear now.
No fear. I mean, of course, I do have some nervousness, sometimes I'm like, wait, but is this going to work? But once I do, I've learned the different techniques. I can work on my local computer and build everything on my local computer without having to interfere with what other developers have already worked on. There's just the whole process of creating an application and what's involved. It's not only the language that we learn, we also learn how to collaborate with other developers. We've learned how to ask questions and how to not be afraid to ask those questions. We've learned how to take constructive criticism.
Which is a big one.
Which is a big one, absolutely. One of the interesting parts of the course was when we took the assessments where we had our peers grade us on certain things, grade us on our leadership skills, on our communication skills, and things like that. And one thing that I learned was that I definitely am harder on myself than other people
are on you. Yeah, that's pretty common for women too.
And my perception of certain things like that are not the same as what other people perceive of me.
Yeah, and that's why we hold ourselves back.
Absolutely. Sometimes we may use our previous personal experiences to really to judge ourselves on whether we can do something or we cannot. When I was doing the assessments and I graded myself on those assessments, right? Some of the things like maybe organizational skills or time management, things like that. I was like, I'm not really that good at that. Just based on my personal
Your own
life.
Perception of you, yeah.
And my personal life too.
Yeah.
But in a professional setting, it's totally different. And I handle things a lot differently, and I don't even realize that I do.
Yeah.
I may slack off and give a little, slack at home and on the personal side, but on the professional side, I'm pretty on point. you know, and I didn't learn that until I was able to go through the assessment and hear the feedback that my peers had, you know, on what they saw my strengths and my weaknesses were,
Yeah.
you know, and that helped me to gain even more confidence,
Yeah.
you know, instead of beating myself up and saying, man, you know, I don't really do a good job at this, you know, that's not always the case.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. So yeah, we can look at ourselves at one way and others look at us, and it's great to get that feedback. 'Cause that's part of what we incorporate to the program. So I'm glad you got value from that.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna wrap up. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
This
you for
was
having
this is
me.
you know, I'm so again excited to see where you go and following your career and seeing what you do next, and love the fact that you're taking some things away like giving back. So that's exciting. And again, thanks for taking the time to come out with us.
Thank you so
and
much.
and be a part of the interview. And we'll look forward to having you come back as a guest speaker for our students so they can learn about where you've taken your career and what
Absolutely.
you're doing. So
I
that
would
full,
love to.
taking it full circle. So
Awesome.
thanks folks for listening and being part of our session today. If you want to learn more about Nebula Academy, please visit nebulaacademy.com. And if you are taking value from the session and want to help us do more, please visit weconnectthedots.org and make a donation to help us do more for people like Jessica who want to really change their lives and don't have ways or means to do that.